Okay, we're going to go ahead and get started. The agenda is not a long one. However, we do have two presentations. So Martha, do you want to go ahead and advance our slides, please? Okay, in terms of the appointees, those whom I can confirm are in attendance would be myself, the recovery officer, interim superintendent, Dr. Irwin Weishadow. As I noted, he is connecting via phone, so he can hear what you are saying, and hopefully you can hear any remarks that he. Okay, there's an official hi from him. For board representatives, I've noticed Ms. Roberts is on the call. Other board members, let me scan the list here real quickly, or feel free to speak up and identify yourself.
Danny or Denisha Hunter-Rue is on.
Thank you for confirming. Welcome. Okay, we also have Principal Heather Johnston. She is an appointee to our committee. Business office officials, it looks like we have Mr. Chad Agnew. Is that correct, Chad?
That's correct. I'm here, Nancy.
Thank you for confirming. Our AIU reps, Miss Leanna Lawson did reach out earlier today, said she was not able to join us. And I'm not seeing Dr. Jacoby. Perhaps she'll sign in later. Dr. Melissa Garvin from Propel, I do not see her, but we do have our special ed advocate, Ms. Jessica Taylor from McGuire Memorial. Hi there, thanks for joining us. We have an additional superintendent as is required by code, Dr. Caroline Johns. She's joining us today and as noted.
Hi there.
Hi, Mrs. Tina Nagel did confirm her intent to serve, to continue to serve as an appointee to our advisory committee. There has been some glitch with the meeting links. We know that she is physically trying to get to a district building in the moment to participate on site. Mr. Jackson, who was initially appointed to the committee, has declined to continue his life. He says a little hectic right now. So we will be working with the Allegheny Intermediate Unit to name a new appointee who will serve as one of our resident representatives. And then we have a teacher who's also the president of the Teachers Union, Miss Marie Kotek, joining us. So from the primary, although not actual appointees, they are guests today, we have Dr. Lisa Mumau and Tim Liparolo. I think I've covered everybody. Oh, and Holly Pope, I'm sorry, who is from the Allegheny Intermediate Unit. She helps with CSI, Comprehensive School Improvement, and she has been supporting our principals. She's also affiliated with the Math and Science Collaborative, so welcome. Next slide, please. Okay, so we have some exciting news. We've been talking about the selection process, and the board on May 22nd did name a new superintendent. You see her name listed there. Her name is Ms. Sonia Cruz. She's actually relocating to this area, and she has been most recently employed in Nashville. Her appointment is expected to cover July 1, 2025 through December 31, 2028. And of course, after that, she can have her contract renewed and so forth. And she's going to start visiting the district. And I've heard most recently that Friday, we do expect her to be on site. Dr. Weishadow has been setting up some visits throughout the schools and given tentative times for the administration to meet her and to welcome her into their individual buildings. So that is all very, very good news.
Off the top of my head, 11 o'clock at the high school, 12:45, I believe, at the upper, around 2:15 at the primary. I think I'm pretty close with those times.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Weishadow, for giving more details. Also, this other item, we've been back and forth. We were so excited when the district received notice that it would be eligible for these particular services. However, because federal dollars are involved with that as the funding source, we just weren't sure whether or not the project would continue. Most recently, we've been told, and that is as of May 2nd, that absolutely the initiative is still alive and well. And part of that initiative is that services are provided. In particular, the district is most interested in hosting a visit from members of a Penn State engineering team who are part of the initiative, and to have them come on site to focus on the junior senior high school, which we know is in need of capital repairs in the amount of at least $7 million. And that's not a fixed number. as things age, that number is going to go up, of course, but trying to figure out a creative way to keep that building, maintain, perhaps complete those repairs at a lower cost, or to find some novel way to repurpose the building so that, the district would stay as a K-12 model, but in terms of efficiency, it would be greatly improved. So we really are excited about that. Initially, Dr. Sofo, who's the former interim superintendent, was told that the visit would happen most likely in June. If that's the schedule, we don't know yet, if that still remains to be seen. So I just wanted to bring that to your attention, and that's pretty exciting. Okay, so new topics for consideration. I would expect in July to give some form of a presentation to the board. It would be during a public meeting to talk about financial recovery updates, a summary of amendment themes, and then we're going to start talking about a 30-day public review of the final PD approved draft that will follow on a date to be determined. So just as a reminder, the original plan was drafted and approved in 2022, and a lot of things have changed. Some things are the same. Some of the challenges are the same, but the district has made strides in certain areas. So it doesn't seem to make sense to retain some things that have already been accomplished and or to not address new concerns, new challenges. So I've been working in conjunction with PFM. Those are our data analysts and researchers who are provided by the PA Department of Education. And that plan hopefully will be ready for review at PD's level. And then also prior to our next meeting of this particular group, we want to give you a look at least the initiatives. We've been talking about them each of our monthly meetings, referencing them kind of more generically, but I want to break them down and show you them in more refined language, and then to get some feedback. Right now, it looks as though there will be 4 categories in that revised document. And those categories I anticipate to be academic operations, administration/governance, business operations, culture and climate, and then safety and security. And obviously 4 and 5 have a close relationship. I may just combine those into a single section. But when you look at initiatives, the current recovery plan, again from 2022, lists 25 total initiatives. And I'm not asking you to say that that's good or bad, because I don't know if that's good or bad. But when I look at all of the information that is available in present time, I think we need to be very detailed or more specific about what does the district have to do to earn its way into recovery. The goal is for the district to stand alone and to become independent of the Department of Education, but there has to be certain evidence demonstrated and shared so that the district is ready to go and that the district is set up for success. But a lot of the challenges are procedural, and it makes sense that the district would have those challenges given the rate of turnover and some key positions. So right now it looks like, if I'm very, very specific about the to-do list, the tasks that the district would have to perform, demonstrate competency in, there's probably 15 in academic operations, only 5 in administration and governance, 25 in business operations, and then culture and climate, I would anticipate no more than 10, and safety and security, again, I would anticipate no more than 10, for a total of 65. It's interesting, I was able to go to Harrisburg and to meet May 13th with individuals who are in my same role and those who serve as receivers across the 9 districts that are in this category of supervision. And also our PDE supervisors were there and the Secretary of Education. Very, very informative people who are in the exit stage. They are in 5 years of monitoring. And there was also representatives from a brand new district in terms of being assigned financial recovery. So the needs are very different. But they talked about the idea of remaining fluid and being mindful that as you attend to some priorities, other senses of urgency, may be triggered, and there's other things to focus on. And the goal truly is to make sure that the district is in a good position to qualify for exit and to do really well for those 5 years of monitoring, and then to be completely independent again. So most recently, talking to the board privately, I said, it is realistic, depending on how this year's financials play out. Obviously, they'll be audited at the end of the fiscal year. This could be year 1 of that 3-year period where the district has to show evidence that it can manage finances. In other words, that the amount of revenue that comes in is sufficient to meet the operating costs. And that's been the challenge. And another challenge, although it has been a blessing in a sense, is all of the COVID dollars that flowed in. Yes, that was great. However, some districts, a lot of districts, I'm not saying Sto-Rox in particular, but a lot of districts became very, very reliant on those dollars. And now you even see in the local media, those same districts are furloughing people because they embedded those dollars in their base, their operational costs. And obviously with the loss of the money, you can't sustain that. So we want to be really smart, but I'm really, really hopeful. I really think Sto-Rox is in a good position. If we continue to maintain discipline and patience, exit could be sooner rather than later. So again, referencing the anticipated amended document, Stephen and Hannah from PFM will continue to support me with that. And we want to share those with the advisory committee to get your feedback. And then, hopefully July, August, we'll be ready to perhaps ask the board for approval of that and to move forward and let that be our guiding document. So I'm really hopeful about that. Any comments, questions, concerns? Okay, Martha, want to advance the slides, please? All right, so new topics for consideration. Some of the things that the district is grappling with. I'm going to defer to Chad from JMA, Business Office Contractor. Do you want to talk about these first two items? I know they're in a little bit different format than the agenda I sent you yesterday or this morning.
Sure. So the district received approximately about 3 or 4 years ago, we received a $1 million transitional loan from PDE. One of the stipulations in there was that the money was given to us, it wasn't on a reimbursement basis. PDE gave the district, or loaned the district, I should say, $1 million for to assist with the recovery plan. As that cash was in our bank account in our possession, interest was accrued on that is due back to PDE, and you can see there on the slide to the tune of just a tad over $63,000. There were I believe it was in April or May that the district received two notices from the IRS regarding late payments for taxes that were due. One you can see going back to the year 2021, and then one here in 2024. Both of those notices were fulfilled and payments were made.
Okay, any questions about those matters? Important to note that those expenditures will be on this year's budget if you were spending. They do not carry over into next fiscal year. So that'll give us a better idea too where we are, but I'm hopeful even with $1 surplus, we'll qualify for the first of 3 years. Okay,
could you tell me what PDE is again? I'm not sure what the acronym is.
That's the Pennsylvania Department of Education.
And that was, okay, yes, got it, thank you.
Mm-hmm. Okay, let's move on. Similar to what we did last month, we had Asia Davis present some of her exciting changes that she's planning for next school year. And one of those she talked about a detention program, a Saturday program. And we know that ultimately that will need board approval because there's spending involved with that. But we also tonight then want to welcome Dr. Lisa Mumau, and then Heather will present to us next, but they're going to talk about what they're planning for next year. And I think it's really, really important that we, financial recovery itself makes it feel like it's all about dollars and cents, and certainly dollars and cents are part of the equation, but we are in the business of education, and it's so important to think about the student experience. So Lisa and Tim, you want to go ahead?
Perfect. Do you want us to share our screen, or is someone presenting and then we're reading off of it?
Martha, what do you prefer?
Do you want me to share it, or would you like to share? Is it easier for you to share it?
If you can share it, that would be great. If you have it up, if not, I can.
Just give me 1 minute.
Okay, thank you. Thank you and welcome everyone. In March, when we were tasked with looking at transformation, looking at a school within a school model, I wanted to take some ideas, suggestions, and hear from the voices of my staff and my faculty. So Martha, if we can move forward to the next slide. We created the SRPC transformation team. And I'm so proud in April, that team consisted of first grade teacher, Chelsea Kroll, learning support teacher, Teresa Brooks, third grade teacher, Julie Blank, myself, and Dr. Holly Pope. We were able to visit Duquesne City School District and ask them about their process for PBIS curriculum instruction. We really looked at how they modeled their classrooms and programs they were able to offer, and our team gleaned a lot of information. I think, you know, several years ago, Sto-Rox was able to visit prior to my time here, and Mrs. Blank was so excited to see some of their ideas put into action. We've also reached out to Baldwin, Whitehall School District, Shaler, and Greensburg-Salem. We've had some conversations with email, but just with schedules and times, our team has not had the opportunity yet to visit those schools. We as a team looked at 4 pillars of school transformation and how they relate to the SRPC. We really wanted to hone in on our school culture and climate, kind of the vibe and the environment, so our students and our staff feel that sense of connection. Our second theme was student achievement and student growth. We rounded out our third team with PBIS and SEL, positive behavior interventions and supports, and social emotional learning across the continuum, K to 3. And finally, professional development and professional growth to really help support our teachers, scaffold and target what they need when they need it through PLC, committee meetings, and or any potential district professional development. So when we look at pillar 1, kind of some of the themes that came up for school culture, it would be our shared sense of expectations, attitudes, and identity. Our staff kind of looked at it as the SRPC way: school routines, norms, and traditions. Having positive relationships amongst one another, students and families, so we could welcome everyone in, because we know that it's a collective whole to really move our school and our students and our community forward. Some of our action steps to help support school culture: we will be implementing the Student of the Month as it relates to our PBIS Viking values of being kind, capable, and in control. We've noticed, based off of PBIS referrals and just holistic need within our building, to really reintegrate social emotional learning and emotional regulation, teaching our kids the skills and the steps necessary to understand, but also the regulation, putting those into action within experiences. So we've been able to work out some reset spaces for classrooms. So all classrooms used to have a calming corner. Now we're going to be reframing and renaming those reset spaces. All of those reset spaces will be very similar, with fidgets, with opportunities for students to have cards for them to be able to do some box breathing, starfish breathing. We'll be training our staff in August. We've started some of those conversations and really being intentional with our morning meetings. We have announcements right now, but we really want to have a better lens of restorative welcome and restorative conversations after our students arrive, and increasing our student leadership and voice, our Viking Leader program. When Dr. Pope and I were able to do some focus group conversations with students and with some of our families, our students really appreciated the opportunity to come and speak with us and share ideas. So we thought about incorporating them in our monthly PBIS incentives, some of our school spirit pride days, and even having conversations with our cafeteria, Mrs. Janet Connors, on some fun food selections moving forward. When we look at pillar 1, school climate, it's the vibe of the SRPC. Our students and our staff and our faculty really feeling that emotional sense of connection with one another and with the work that we do to support our students in our community. I'm very proud. I don't know, Martha, we've worked hard on our master schedule and our building level schedule. Some of the differences this year moving forward compared to currently: we've been able to define intervention time across the grade level. So it is our hope to have regular ed teachers and our special ed teacher and our reading specialists creating 5 to 6 reading intervention groups, being able to look at our reading data based off of MAP assessment, based off of, in-class diagnostic assessments that we're doing to give students those additional skills to hopefully remediate and to run our data cycles between 6 and 8 weeks and 8 to 10 weeks with our reading specialists. So we're pretty proud of that. We have some teaming going on within our schedule. If we have 4 kindergarten classrooms, we're looking at having buddy teachers. So we would have 2 teachers in all grade levels except 3rd grade having special itinerant together. And then in 3rd grade, all of our teachers would be able to have itinerant together that would help support cohesion, collaboration, grade conversations, not only within their grade, but within our special education classrooms as well. Something that we've created, and this was trial this year in February and March, due to just some common planning and some student needs when students are dysregulated, really being able to have a grade level buddy teacher, teacher 1A and teacher 1B being able to be partners should a student need a reset space. If it's not happening within the classroom, we're going to offer that student an opportunity to go to the buddy teacher, maybe be able to reset and rejoin. If that's not able to happen, then our school counselor, our school social worker, and administration will be able to help support that student. But we really want to build those skills and those resources within the grade level classroom and buddy level classroom to help decrease any student behaviors and dysregulation that could be happening. Another component of our master schedule to reduce transitions, we are going to be having all homeroom teachers teaching science and social studies. We'll be piloting, we'll be working through mystery science, K-3, and scholastic news for social studies. Our teachers learned of this last night. They are during our faculty meeting, and they were very supportive of it. We're lucky enough to have Mr. Liparillo as our science trained professional. So we're going to be doing some admin PD on mystery science so we can roll that out to support our teachers. And scholastic news, we're going to be meeting with the reps soon, so we'll be able to prepare some trainings for our teachers when they come back in August. When we looked at our committees, our teachers really had a voice to change some of our committees. We're still going to keep after school committees for CSI attendance and PBIS, but we really want to look at a committee to embrace school culture and school climate. There are several school culture and school climate surveys that we're going to kick off the first week of September. And we want to look at like behavioral data. We want to look at attendance and academic data. We want to look at reference points with our students, with our staff, throughout the year. So we're excited about that committee, and we've already had several staff members volunteer for their interest. So pillar 2, the meat of our academic success, student achievement, and student growth, we defined as that performance at a specific time, looking at our standards, looking at benchmark assessments, common assessments within the classroom. We've spent a good part of the spring PLC really looking at common assessments. What are we doing? Why are we doing it? How are we assessing? How is that uploaded and dictated within the grade book? A snapshot of what our students know and what they're capable of doing. Mr. Liparillo and I are going to continue high quality instruction with our walkthrough model, formal observations, and really honing in on our grade level data meetings. When we look at our PLC days, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, we have data days. January of this year, we started having grade level meeting data days facilitated by grade levels, supported by administration. So we're going to keep that to help support our reading intervention program so we can be very intentional when we're looking at what students need. No longer do we want to really keep students for a full year, a tier 3 reading specialist intervention. We need to, move kids. We need to challenge kids. And if the tier 3 interventions are not working within reading instruction based off of structured literacy, we want to move forward with some types of additional support based off of recommendations through our SST process. I alluded to the differentiated PLC time, Monday through Friday. Some of our focus topics this year through staff recommendations, formative and combative assessments, culturally culturally responsive teaching, high impact strategies, that should say domain 2 and 3, I apologize. Really looking at ways we're going to engage our learners. When we look at Maslow and we look at Dr. Karen Hess, how are we really questioning and supporting is formative understanding happening within the classroom? That's developmental K-3. So we want to really work on some of those strategies. We've embraced a shout out to our first grade teachers and our team K-3 writing notebooks. We noticed the gap within some of the standards and some of our instruction within ELA and Wonders. So we're going to be implementing K-3 writing books for the kickoff of next year. I've already talked about the introduction of Mystery Science and Scholastic News. We're pretty excited. This was just taken last Friday. This is our teamwork, our MAPS, reading and math. And if you can see, everything in the yellow, green, and red shows our students are ready to learn, 50% of our students. So as we looked at some of our data and some of our scores, I'm proud to report that 43% of students, K-3, have shown at least average achievement for the spring term testing in math. And 57% of our students showed growth in reading on the MAPS test from fall to spring at the SRPC. If anyone needs any additional data or questions on that, we'll be able to provide that. So when we look at Pillar 2, student achievement and student growth, the progress of improvement over time, really looking at an equity model for our students, recognizing the improvements and really putting the value added progress. We're hoping to be able to close some of those gaps and catch our students. We have students at times that move in and out through our intervention block, that 45-minute defined intervention through structured literacy principles. We'll be kicking off a pilot of UFly intervention for kindergarten and learning support. So we're going to be able to fuse that into intervention, and we're very, very excited that we had the support of our CSI consultants and the district to purchase those materials for our teachers. We've started a deep dive, and we're hoping we can move forward with Mr. Paul's appointment, aligning our curriculum, math and ELA with standards. We've done some vertical and horizontal planning and alignment for our pacing guides. And based off of those conversations, we really need to implement more direct instruction, small groups, center-based activities within ELA instruction and with math instruction. We're pleased to introduce Everyday Counts calendar math. When we've had some conversations with our math team looking at our math pacing guide under the direction of Dr. Pope, we noticed that K-3 and potentially maybe even beyond, that our students are struggling with number sense and fluency development. So this is a program that we are going to embed in our math block. So we're excited to kick that off for next year. We talked about some of the personalized interventions that we'll be doing. We're going to be, for right now, grades 1 through 3 for intervention. We're going to just be working through Wonders and our structured literacy model. Should we notice some trends in data for additional intervention material, we'll be able to talk as a team about that. So we're excited as we approach Pillar 3, PBIS and SEL. We've been pretty lucky here, in the primary center, that we've had our positive behavior interventions and support program coupled with social emotional learning. We do believe that behaviors are taught and supported. We're recognizing and reinforcing skills, and behaviors are, when Mr. Lipperlo and I just looked at the data, have decreased. This year in PBIS, we are going to be moving forward, updating our K-3 PBIS lessons based off of the input from our PBIS team and some of our teachers. We're going to update our signage and make it more versatile and supportive and representative of who our students are, with the Viking and the shield, especially in the restroom when we notice that students struggle with that unstructured time, being consistent with the motto, go flush wash. We're going to go in and we're going to be able to leave. I'm proud to announce that our school counselor is willing to do some restorative practice training and support. So we looked at some trainings in Harrisburg, but we actually found a local one through our AIU that she's going to be involved in to have those restorative conversations and circles to really repair relationships and hopefully decrease any type of student conflict or student disengagement with one another and or the school. We've already talked about our classroom reset spaces and equitable fidget kits and our buddy system. We implemented this in February when we have students that may be dysregulated. We say the word school bus, we train students, the students get up, they go to their buddy teacher classroom, so instruction can be minimized, and the student that is dysregulated can have his or her identity, respect, and support as we transition that student to a calm reset area. So really focusing on social emotional learning is our second pillar of who we are at the SRPC, allowing students to understand CASEL's self-awareness, self-management, social awareness, relationship skills, making reasonable and responsible decisions. So much happens within the SRPC that our students are able to say they feel something, but they're not able to work through those skills when they're in that experience or in that moment. So through Reset, through our morning meetings, we're going to be very intentional teaching stop, think, and act, or choose, to our students, developing the zones of regulation and having that really as a staple of who we are within our morning meetings, end of the day meetings, blue, green, yellow, and red. We talked about redesigning our morning meetings, restorative practices. The RRC is now going to be like a reset space in the main office. Mr. Liprillo and I are going to create a space within our main office for students when they're coming down from deep dysregulation, so we can help support them with our school counselor and our MHY social worker. And finally, we end our pillars with professional development and professional growth. Looking at the needs within our CSI plan, our recovery plan, the district comprehensive plan, really being able to give our teachers that differentiation, looking at best practices, educational research, content-specific needs within math, within ELA, and now as we adopt the STIL standards within science moving forward. We're going to be adopting grade level meetings bi-weekly. We're looking at number sense, writing, UFly, mystery science, and scholastic news. And some of those actions will be accomplished through our morning meetings, restorative practices, conversations, and our culture and climate committee. And when we look at professional growth, we're really looking at the growth mindset. We are going to be offering an opportunity for Reset. Dan Heath, that's a really great book. I'm hoping some of our staff choose that as a professional development opportunity within the PC to be able to look at skills, knowledge enhancement, ability to change, professional reflection that floats throughout domains 1, 2, 3, and 4 with evaluation, to support collaboration. We're proud that we're thinking future ready and innovative within our personalized learning platforms and pathways. For PLC, choice-based menus, we started that probably in January, and our staff seem to like that. Flexible formatting with coaching, peer observations, something that we're definitely going to implement. Teacher-led workshops, we were able to pilot that twice this year, and our teachers did an outstanding job as they're experts within their content, sharing what they've learned and some suggestions for other staff and for administration. And we really want to work to target our new teachers, so they feel that connection with our agency and within our climate and our culture beyond what's already offered within the district and within their process of, new teacher induction. Some of our priorities, the themes, when we look at all the buckets: empower student growth, elevate our teaching practices. We have to move students, we have to grow students. That's where we're at, and we're changing some things within our master schedule, within our teaching design, in hopes to be able to be successful. We really need to strengthen our culture and our climate within our school staff, within our students, and within our community through PBIS, SEL, and really being inclusive, engaging families and communities within the forefront of our school. And we want our teachers and everyone here to lead with purpose and heart within their classroom, their hallway, and their decision. We kicked off the year with a story of a carabiner with our team, and the carabiner helps us throughout these challenges. And on Friday, we're going to connect our carabiners, in our PLC to make our promises moving forward for the 25-26 school year to one another, and, in quiet reflection. And just some things, some great pictures, and a quote that we've said as an SRPC team: together we're just not improving a school, we're transforming lives. Our teachers are dedicated, our students and our communities show up, and Mr. Liprillo and I are so proud of the success that we've had, and we're excited to springboard into the 25-26 school year.
Thank you so much. Any questions, comments from anybody? Well, I'll give you my reaction. That's a lot. And, I'm very impressed by many things that you presented. First of all, that you gathered a team together to represent the different grade levels, content areas, and so forth. And together you put together a plan that you all feel is going to be effective and improve the student outcomes. So I applaud you for doing that. Thank you.
Nancy, just a comment on my end.
Mm-hmm.
That when Mr. Paul comes aboard, and I love when Lisa, you were saying about not only the horizontal but the vertical alignment of the curriculum, which is so important. And obviously, without being said a whole heck of a lot more, but school culture and school climate in conjunction with the curriculum, I think that that will really help with the starting of some longitudinal data that we'll be able to utilize for the future to find our weak strands, links, etc. And thank you. You both you did a good job, Lisa.
Thank you. We're so excited for Mr. Paul. I know our staff is already talking about curriculum and SAS and whatnot, so we're moving forward with all that energy.
So just to clarify, fill in some gaps, maybe for those who are not aware of Mr. Paul and so forth. So the board in its last meeting, May 22nd, did approve the hiring of Mr. Anthony Paul as the new Director of Curriculum Instruction and Assessment. Very excited about that because that position had actually been absorbed through attrition, and the district was relying on a contracted services model, a part-time consultant to help fill in those gaps. I think that decision, certainly, it's a positive thing to have that reversed right now and to move forward with further development, articulation of a comprehensive K-12 curriculum, which has been lacking. I believe the teachers are doing the best they can, making subjective judgment calls on what to teach, how to assess, and so forth. But to have a guide at the district administration level is very exciting, and I think will help pull things together. So that's what the reference to Mr. Paul is all about. Any other questions or comments? Okay, so the same evening, we're going to have Heather Johnston, who represents the upper elementary, give a similar presentation, albeit it will be specific to her grade levels and her plan. Heather, are you able to share your screen?
Yes, I am.
Okay, go ahead.
Give me 1 second. Okay, so I'm going to share a glance of what the SRUE team will be working on for the 25-26 school year. We had come together probably in February and started planning for the next year. We looked at scheduling. During one of our PLCs, I had a bunch of paper around the room with different questions about the scheduling for next year. So that was one of the things that we started in our planning. But before we did anything, we looked back at our data. So we broke it up into 3 different areas, very similar to the primary. We looked at attendance, we looked at PBIS, and the academic piece. So looking back at the data, in the 23-24 school year, we had 88.5% of regular attendance. We really wanted to get that up to 90% in the 24-25. We fell a little short, but we did move very little, but at least it's up and not down. So we're going to continue working on our regular attendance, because if students aren't here, they're not learning. So our goals for the attendance piece is, and these are all in our TSI plan, we're going to continue our attendance committee work And the piece that we're going to add to this is parent and student input into the meetings and the plans that we make. We're going to continue our incentive work with the Pittsburgh area communities and schools. I'm going to just give one instance. Actually, I'm going to give two. Two of the big incentives that we did in collaboration with Pittsburgh area communities and schools. At our January celebration of learning, Pittsburgh area communities and schools gave gift cards to the students that had perfect attendance. One of the things that happened because of that, two of our students who had missed in years past over 90 days of school have been in perfect attendance. They today was over 98 days perfect attendance since that initial incentive. So that was a big, huge celebration with that one little piece. They actually did get the perfect attendance again award, so they were very happy with that. The big one that we got students here in April was McDonald's lunch. So the student homeroom that had the best attendance for April got a McDonald's lunch. So students, our daily attendance rate was well over 90%. So that was great for that month. So we're going to work on more things and getting more student inputs for that. We're going to continue and strengthen our attendance check-in, check-out. So whenever we see a student that is struggling, we bring that to our SAP team, and our SAP team looks at what we can do for that student. One of the pieces that we do is check-in, check-outs, where we have a staff member assigned, and they have goals and calendar sheets with the students to work on setting goals for their attendance and getting them there. And actually why they're missing and what we could do to help support them or the family. Another piece, which I'm going to talk more in depth later, is the student engagement. We want to get students excited about coming here each and every day. So we're going to work as a team on student engagement in our lessons and in our climate and culture. The other area that we are going to target by our plan is the chronic absenteeism. So that is the student who is missing a whole bunch of school continually. We're going to target on those students and see what we can do to reduce those rates. Our goal again is 90%. We're reaching that, like I said before, on a daily basis, but not overall. And one of the main problems of that is those students that are chronically absent. So we're going to work on that piece. One of the things that I am adding for teachers' responsibilities and requirements for next year, one of my sixth grade teachers had done this, and when I was in doing one of my walkthroughs, I had saw her refer to this and had asked more about this and loved it. And when we looked at her test results, her students had done so much better than other classes. One of the things that she does in her Google Classroom is she puts in the assignments in by days. So when that student misses, that student can go to their Google Classroom. So not only is it a missed work, but it's also a little video that she has gotten from either YouTube, Eureka, Math, and she clips that on there so that those students that missed will have a little tutorial of how to do that missed assignment. Obviously, they can ask the teacher, but it's just a way to help. It is also a way that we found out that parents go and help their students with that homework, as well as for students that maybe needed that extra help that in class they did not pay attention. They went to the bathroom and they missed something. That's a way for them to go back and look at that. So we're going to move to our next piece, which is our PBIS. So we are about in our finishing up our 6th year of implementation of PBIS. Our first 2 years, we taught the behaviors, like we teach the academics. We modeled and practiced the expected behaviors, acknowledged, reinforced, pre-corrected, prompted, and actively supervised to prevent problems. As you can see, there is our behavioral matrix, being safe, respectful, and responsible, and what that looks like in each of those areas. So some of our accomplishments in our 2nd year, at the end of our 2nd year, we did sustain fidelity at Tier 1. Just in October, we received fidelity at all 3 tiers, and we were recognized at the statewide conference for Patan. So we're very proud of that. We were one of 32 school districts that received that. The second thing that we did in these past 2 years that really helped, I think, reduce, and on the next slide, you'll actually see our data from Swiss. We did student and teacher goal setting. So once a month during our after-school discipline meetings, we looked at the Swiss data and set goals by grade level and by the building, and that's how we did our incentive parties. But we took it a step further this year, and we did the same thing for students. And we did the principal meetings where the students actually looked at their data, looked at where this was happening, when this was happening, and helped us put goals in place for them. So they took more of an active part in the PBIS system this year. And then one of the things that we are on our 3rd year, and I'm sorry to see it go through the Just Discipline Project, was consistent restorative practices utilized and documented. So we started with the morning circles, where we consistently do that. They do the same ones throughout each of the buildings. And I'm going to come back to that on a couple slides down. This is our referral data, and what you are looking at is month by month. So this is from our Swiss program where teachers put in any majors or minors. So you can see the green is from the 23-24 school year. The blue is from the 24-25 school year. So you can see we have gone down greatly this school year, and we feel that it's the consistent implementation of the program, getting students those supports that they need, taking cell phones and locking them up until the end of the day so that we don't have to police cell phones. And we feel that the dress code, when we've had our dressed on days, we see a spike. Maybe that's just us looking at it like that, but we feel that the uniforms have greatly helped as well. So going back to the restorative practices, one of the things that the students are now doing, they're asking for these healing circles when they're having conflict with other students. And this is all part of that Just Discipline project. We have, I'm trying to think of the others, welcoming circles for students that maybe they were out for an illness for an extended period of time. Maybe they're coming back from a suspension, and we do a welcoming circle to ease them coming back in and prevent future reoccurrences. One of our other things through the restorative practices, we have the LIT leaders, which are the leaders in training. And they have actually been up and running this year in our third year, running peer mediations and having going to staff to try to prevent things that, you know, from getting bigger when they know something that is happening. They have also worked with communities and schools to pass out the blessing bags to families and help assist in supporting families. So that is the restorative practices piece. We're still going to continue all of these pieces just with less staff to support it. So our change for this year is the house system. So we have started, we were part of the consortium all this year. So myself and a few staff members have taken turns going to the consortium for public ed in McKeesport, as well as go to site visits around to different various schools. We've gone to Shaler, Pittsburgh Mifflin, California, PA, I think Greensburg, Salem, and I can't remember the fifth school that we have gone to for research into our new house system. So this is modeled after the Ron Clark Academy framework, and we're calling it the Viking house system, where we group students, staff, all staff, and faculty into smaller houses. These houses will compete in friendly events designed to build community, strengthen our school spirit, and promote accountability. The system's core goal is to encourage positive behavior and support academic achievement. So as we said, there are 4 houses with 1 family. That is the SRUE family. These are the 4 houses that we will go by starting next year. We did a soft rollout this year. Each house has a meaning, a symbol, a core value, a color, a motto, and traits for this house. And there will be SEL lessons to go along with each of these when our houses meet, which will be led by staff and student leaders. There will be an application process at the beginning of the year to get our student leaders for the houses.
How'd you come up with the house names, Heather?
They're from the Ron Clark. We just stole them from there.
Okay.
We were going to do where the kids picked them, and then it just turned into too much. So we decided we're going to take it small, and we could add things to each of the houses. So we had our 3rd grade move up a couple weeks ago where they came and we did their house sorts. These pictures are from today when we had our 4th and 5th grade celebration of learning, and each of them picked the houses. So I am in the green house, the best house, the Isabindi. But the kids were excited and they have been watching videos. There are chants, there's cheers to go along with each of these houses that they'll be learning at the start of the year. So our first year goals for this house system is rolling it out. I talked about some of the things that we will be doing with it. Begin the point system. So students will earn points not only for behavior now, but also academics. And each house will be competing against each other. We have TVs all through our cafeteria and hallways, and those points will be posted. So if you visit our building, you'll see which house is in the lead. This is also to build the staff capacity to ensure consistent implementation of this program, establish positive expectations, foster positive relationships. We're engaging the families building a sense of community and belonging, and creating a culture of celebration for progress. So this was our consortium work. You can see a picture of our project that we had to work on throughout our year. So our goals for this past year, student outcomes that we saw in building this. Our theme was building dream homes, one beam at a time. You can see our data and some of the work that the students had done in their pictures. And then we talked about our challenges and our future focus. So this is displayed in our gym currently for all to see that come here. So working with the consortium, this helped us with a professional learning community. It also helped us to network. And we also were able to share ideas and resources with each other, so we didn't have to recreate the wheel. We did many site visits, as I talked about, and it was an opportunity for collaboration. And from the board meeting, I received 10 scholarships for my teachers to go to the Ron Clark Academy in Atlanta, Georgia for 2 days of professional development in July. So we are very excited about that. Our teachers are on Amazon buying their shirts that they got, whatever house they're in. They're very excited to go to this. They've shared it with that excitement with students. So we're very excited about the Haas system starting next year. Moving on to the last piece, which is academics. And I know we only have 2 minutes, so I will keep it short. But
Take more than 2 if you need, please.
I am very excited to show you our MAP growth for this year. We have celebrated since our end of the year finished last week with our MAP growth results. So the first is our reading, which is where we need to focus on most. Overall, in the whole building, the top bar is the reading for the whole building. So you can see overall this year, we have grown 60%, which is phenomenal. I would like to see it more, but I'm happy where we're at right now because we got to take small steps. The bottom, the left side is from the fall and the right side is from the spring. So one of your main goals is to move students to the right side and out of that red. So from the fall, we had 57% of our students were in that 1st to 20th percentile. And at the end of the year, we decreased and it is at 49%. So we're slowly moving students up to where we need to see them in that right area. This is by grade level. I broke it down by grade level. If you can look at 4th grade, we were very, very proud of 4th grade. We had 84% growth in 4th grade. We have some work to do in 5th grade. We were at 21%, which is below where we want to be in that area at that 50% growth. That's what is expected. So we need some work. I have sat down with Christina. We went through specific data, and I'll talk about that in the goals for next year. Our 6th grade, we were pretty proud of them. They did pretty well as 80% growth overall this school year. Now the math is where I'm really, really proud. So if we look overall, the building had 87% growth for this year. Look at the red. We're only at 14%. We moved everybody over to that right and had over 56% in that blue, which is 80% percentile. You can see the comparison from the beginning to the spring. And then I took the breakdown by each grade, which our 4th grade and our 6th grade were tied at 91% growth. So we're very proud of that. Our 5th grade had great growth and above where we, want to see it. They were at 75% growth. So our goals for next year, we're going to continue where we're at and build because of the progress that we have made in looking back at our data. We're going to work on continuing to strengthen our tier 1, our core data. We're going to continue with the lesson plan feedback. I'm going to continue with the consistent walkthroughs with hopefully Dr. Paul helping out with that. We're going to continue using that UDL framework. Continuing on our assessment work, this year we've used the interim assessments, which at the beginning of the year, teachers were stomping their feet, just another test. By the end of the year, they're sitting there talking about how they could use it. They want another day in their pacing guide so that we could actually have students look at those interim assessments, where they're at and where they need to be. That was a big push this year. Students actually looking at their growth, looking at these MAP scores, looking at the data notebooks. So we're going to continue that as well. Continuing to look at data during PLC, continuing that deeper dive into the instructional practices. Through my work at UVA, we've implemented the data meetings. We're going to take that a step further this year and actually having grade level meetings, discussing specific student data and looking at exemplar work when we're planning for those errors, just increasing what we currently are doing. We are going to do next year PLC monthly themes on instructional practices that will go in a newsletter. And one of the other things that we're going to do with those instructional practices is having teachers go into other classrooms, giving feedback, advice. We did a little bit of that work this year. They really liked it. We called it Mission Possible. And they gave things that they really liked. And why don't you try this? Did you ever think of this? So we're going to continue that practice next year, but we're going to do monthly themes so that we're all on the same page. One of the other things is strengthening that parent communications, sending quick pictures. Your child, look how hard your child is working on their reading tests, something like that. We're going to continue our celebrations of learning. We had that today where we went over the data with the parents for the last half of the year. We shared that MAP data with them. One of the things we did at the beginning of the year, we called it Data and Donuts, where we explained it to them. We explained what to look for when these results come home so that they can take an active part in their child's education. And one of the things that we're excited to do for next year is we're going to switch up how open house looks at the upper elementary. We're going to do a big group meeting in the cafeteria and gym area, our auditorium area. And we are going to have different stations where they can go to and learn how to help their child with math so that we start off on a better foot. Then we will move then into the last piece where they take a tour of the building and find out about each of the grade levels. As I said before, our RCA PD for 10 teachers, we're going to look at student engagement, culture and climate, and the house system. And when they come back, they're going to be a part of our beginning of the year in service sharing what they have learned with the teachers. One of the big things in all of the trainings that I have had with Ron Clark is that 1%, how it's when you sit there and look at a whole bunch of different things and all these things that we want to accomplish, and it's very overwhelming. So teachers are going to set their 1%. How are they going to improve their practice or their classroom just 1%, just by doing that little addition? One of the other things when we did our parent engagement teacher training that we wanted to add was mystery readers. So if anybody is interested in being a part of our mystery readers, Mike Petrogallo started that with our 4th graders this year. He came weekly and read to them. They absolutely loved it. So we want to get that love of reading. So if anybody's interested, let me know. We would love to have you here. And then, as I said before, when we got our data, I sat down with Christina. She's our TAC from the AIU. She's going to start moving more into the academic and helping us with that. One of the things that we looked at was those 5th grade scores, because they're lower than where we want them to be. So we're going to look at that phonics decoding, and as the primary center, the UFly and the rewards are 2 programs that we're going to look to add. I'm not going to click on the master schedule, but we as a team at the upper elementary did work on that to make sure that we had enough time to provide interventions and core instruction for this school year. So we're excited at the new schedule and rolling it out next year. And that's it. Sorry, I went over. I'm 8 minutes over.
No, you did an excellent job, and I thank Jessica and Caroline for your comments that you put in the chat. And Lisa and Heather, when is the last day of school?
Friday.
Exactly. So you guys should be limping across the finish line, but you're not. And that shows your character and your leadership. You're so enthusiastic, already looking toward next year without a break in between or skipping a beat. So I applaud you all. And thank you, Ms. Roberts, for those positive hearts that you're sending their way. It's important that you know the board has your back. They are supporting your efforts and recognizing all the hard work that you're doing, all the planning that's been put into place. And I'm very proud of you as well. Anybody from the larger group want to make any comments?
I do.
Go ahead, Dr. Weisscheitel.
I love your growth math in the language arts area. That was very impressive, so thank you. The 6th grade teacher that put the demonstration models online, who was that?
Amanda Scullion, the math teacher in 6th grade.
That would be a great in-service presentation for next year. So put that in your little memory bank or tickler file.
It's already there.
Good. Great minds think alike. And if you would text me tomorrow morning, Heather, just the other day, the owner of a couple McDonald's wants to really help us with McDonald's food. So when I heard the incentive that you had for attendance, if you give me a gentle reminder tomorrow, I'll screenshot his business card that he gave me, and I'll send it to you, Asia, and Lisa, and then you guys can hopefully hit him up for some incentives via the McDonald's Big Macs, etc.
Perfect.
Good job.
Any other comments, questions? Okay, Martha, do we have any more slides?
No, I think that was all it except for the just the closing slide.
Okay, so just a reminder that we'll be meeting the last Wednesday of the month in June, and ahead of that date, I promise to deliver a summary of the initiatives that we are looking at for the next recovery plan, and hopefully this is the last one, and I mean that with all sincerity. I feel very optimistic about the district's opportunities here. And then also, I think I'll ask PFM to share again before the next meeting those updated data tables that are really driving the language in this latest plan, this last plan, let's hope. Any final comments before we break? All right, thank you everyone for your time and for your attention, and we'll see you again in about 30 days. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye, thanks.